All right, awesome. Everyone's okay being recorded, right? Y'all looking pretty, all looking good. All right, awesome. Anyways, welcome to SEACPP. If this is your first time here, SEACPP is the Structural Engineers Association of Cal Poly Pomona. And the title is self-explanatory. We're the structural focus club on campus. We cater a bunch of structural focus events such as socials, tech tours, and of course our guest speakers that we have here. And yeah. So as SEACPP, something that we promote is SEAOSC. This is the national version of our club. This is available to both industry professionals and students, and it's actually free for students. So we really encourage you to sign up to be in SEAOSC. A lot of the events we're gonna plan and promote throughout this semester and next semester are gonna be SEAOSC events, and you won't be able to participate in them if you're not a member. So yeah, use these codes. If you have any questions, contact me. Next we have our membership. This semester, our membership is free. So just come to our meetings, enjoy our guest speakers, enjoy our events that we promote. There should be a sign-in coming in the chat after this presentation. I forgot to send out the link earlier. So if you sign that, you'll get plugged into everything you need to know. And this will, yeah, make you eligible for our tech tour, socials, and job opportunities. So yeah. Next, we have a Yogurtland social. Does Tram want to come up and talk about this event?
I can talk about this, yeah. Hi everyone. So we're gonna have like our first ever social in like the first time in like a year and a half. So we're gonna do it at the Yogurtland in the Walnut Valley Plaza, like on Valley. And there's actually a couple of dates that we want you guys to vote on to see what you guys would want to come. They're both on Fridays. One is October 29th, and then the other is November 5th. And I think Peter should be launching a poll about right now.
Oh, yeah. Please vote.
Yeah, vote.
Do I vote too?
See everyone.
Yeah, you can vote too. If you want to get Yogurtland with us, you're free to come.
We'll be socially distanced and wearing our masks.
Okay, let's see. 10:16.
And then we also have like 3 time slots from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, or 7 to 8. And then Peter will launch like another poll after that.
Okay, I'm gonna, oh, poll on, nice, okay. So,
you know what, I did I end that poll? I wanted to remove it and.
Oh, you know what, I was gonna end it in a second anyway.
Okay.
And this is a good sample size of what we got here. But, so it looks like October 29th, Tram?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we can also offer carpools, like if you're dorming or something, we can come pick you up from Pomona or Cal Poly Pomona.
Let me launch the second poll for the time. All right, I'm gonna end this poll in 3, 2, 1. All right. So yeah, those are results. So it looks like we're on October 29th from 5 to 6. Tram, do you have any last comments or anything?
No, I just want to see everyone there.
All right, awesome. So yeah, mark the calendars, October 29th, 5 to 6. Our details will also go into our Discord and group me, of course. So if you have a bad memory, we'll remind you. Next, we have our social media. This is also another way you can get connected. Our tags are easy, SEACPP at Facebook or Instagram. Really easy to remember. All of our events will be posted here. And yeah, so I really encourage you to follow us. Our next meeting is on the 26th, and now I'd like to invite up Jazz to introduce our speaker.
Hello, everyone. Today we have a guest speaker. His name is Victor Cuevas, and he is representing the city of LA. Take it away.
Thank you, Jocelyn, and thank you, Peter, for the introduction. So, yeah, my name is Victor Cuevas, and I'm a Cal Poly graduate from a long time ago. So, just you know, as a side note, just give you guys advice as far as getting involved. I think this is a great club or organization to be a part of. I actually just came off the SEAOSC board. And believe it or not, we used to talk about you guys at Cal Poly and of course the other universities, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and how we constantly try to get you guys involved in technical and social events. So I know that coming out to a social event with SEAOSC could be a little bit intimidating, being that you guys are students and most of the people involved in those professional organizations are a little older than you. So again, if you're afraid if someone asks you a question that you're not going to be able to, properly in your opinion or whatever, be able to respond properly. But don't be intimidated. Get out there, get to know people. I encourage you guys to also, if you come across me in one of these events, just stop by and say hello. It's a good thing. Professionally, socially, it really helps you advance again professionally and personally, so it's a good thing. And the fact that a lot of these programs are free to students is even more reason to be involved, at no cost or zero or little cost in some cases. It's an encouraging thing for you guys as students. But yes, keep that in mind. I have worked for the Department of Building and Safety for almost 22 years. I did work in construction prior to coming here for a few years. So I've been around for a while, as you can tell. Cal Poly offered a tremendous, schooling, career, learning opportunity, because it does offer a lot of options. So take advantage of the classes that you think you may not be interested but could be beneficial to your professional career, whatever option that you choose, whether it's general, transportation, geotechnical, or traffic, anything. Don't be afraid to go into something that is not part of your track, to again learn something new, not just to benefit personally and professionally, but also because it could also help in your PE. When you take your PE exam, having been exposed to some of the things that you may not be interested, makes a big difference in being able to just kind of, pick up study material, learn it, or relearn it, makes a big difference. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, as a department, we at Building and Safety here are a little bit different than in most other cities. In other cities, I have a presentation, slides, if I may be able to present, if that's okay. Or do you guys just prefer that I kind of talk about things in general about the department, but I have some slides.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can share. I just assumed that you didn't have it because you were already this far into your speech, but yeah.
I mean, okay, I'll keep going. So our department is different than other cities, as I was saying, because in most other cities, the Department of Building and Safety reviews plans, structural calculations, SOLS reports, technical documents that are unique and special to that site where a project is being developed. But alongside the technical aspect of the work, we also are responsible for enforcing the zoning regulations. And that includes the maximum size of a building in terms of height, setbacks, number of stories, zoning wise, because there is an element in the building code that also has some limitations for the type of construction. So we do check that for the planning department, where most other cities, the planning department first checks the zoning. They give you a green light to then proceed to develop full building plans to then submit to building and safety. And that's where, in most cases, the building department is involved in reviewing those technical documents, which also include architectural drawings. I know that in college, you are exposed to some elements or components of the building code. And now that the building code kind of has been taken apart, and you probably don't know this, but in the past, a lot of these reference standards like concrete, steel, masonry, timber, those were all in the building code, if you can believe that. I don't know. Actually, let's see a poll. Did you guys know this? Did you guys learn this in school? No? Okay, nobody's reacting to that. Wow, so you guys didn't know. Okay, so you learned a thing from me today. Wow, I'm impressed by the fact that Cal Poly, being such a great school, didn't tell you guys about this. Not impressed, maybe mystified. But yeah, so a lot of these reference standards like ASC 7, that was all in the building code. You didn't have to go to another set of documents to learn structural design. Now everything has been, again, separated, and now you have to buy all these reference standards to design, and for us in the building department to check projects. But yeah, so I lost my train of thought, sorry. The other thing to keep in mind in terms of what a building department does is, we talk to the general public. We don't always deal with people with technical backgrounds, people that understand the limitations of zoning and building standards and requirements. We also talk to the public, so you have to feel comfortable in being able to talk to people freely. So practice that, learn that, make yourself uncomfortable in terms of being able to freely talk to anybody in the elevator, the supermarket. My daughter, Marissa knows her, of course. She gets upset because I talk to random people at the supermarket. She's like, Dad, why do you need to talk to everyone? Why? They're not talking to you. Because it's fun, it's okay. I'm comfortable. And once you're comfortable, you can freely do it all the time, and it's okay. I think we live in a society where people don't talk to, each other, especially now with COVID. Maybe wait till COVID's over, but it's good to kind of put yourself in uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable positions, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. It's important professionally, and it's important personally. Also, the establishing a set of a network of people that is important. Oh, my lights went out. Hang on. my office, as you can tell, I'm in the office. My light sensor, because it's blocked by my monitor, it's things that I'm not here. So yes, put yourself out there, learn from each other. You guys will definitely be communicating after you graduate, believe it or not. This is not a big community in terms of the people that you will be working with. I actually have had at least 3 professors that I've helped at Building and Safety with their projects, and some of them were not that good, believe it or not, in terms of designers. One of them kept constantly getting sued by their clients, by his clients. Actually, it was a he. And so it's again, it's important. That's why it's important to be involved in these professional organizations, because it does help you in getting a job. It does help you land projects. It does help you again, it benefits your career. So at Building and Safety in LA, we're probably the biggest building department in the country, probably even the world. We currently, I'm actually not in charge of plan check anymore. I'm working in the inspection bureau, And we have 5 bureaus within the department. One is the Inspection Bureau, one is the Plan Check Bureau, one is the IT Bureau, the other one is the Finance Bureau, and then the Code Enforcement Bureau. Altogether, we have about 1,000 employees. We have about almost 500 to 600 inspectors, and we have about 200 staff that work in the Plan Check Bureau. And they're involved in the intake, review, and processing of these technical documents when they're submitted for us to review. Whether it's a small block wall, retaining wall, or even a wall sign on a commercial project, it has to go through building and safety. There's limitations for pretty much anything and everything that you can think of, whether it's a zoning limitation, such as size of a wall sign, a permanent wall sign, or a banner sign that that some businesses will want to display for advertising the business when they first open. During construction, when you see a site that's fully fenced, mostly probably in bigger projects, there's banners and signs that get posted on the fencing of these construction sites. All those are permitted, believe it or not. They go through a review and approval process to get permitted to be installed in as signs. Otherwise, if businesses put up signs, they get citations from the building department for not getting the proper permits that are required. So again, the size are limited. The amount of time that these temporary signs can be posted are limited. But the cabinet signs or the permanent signs also have to go through a review and approval process, and they're limited to the size of the lot. So if you have a big building, you get to have a big sign. If you have a little building, you're going to be limited to a small sign, not just proportionally because of the size of the building, but because of the frontage that's involved in of that property or the site to the streets. So in terms of zoning, there's limits to the number of stories, to the setbacks of houses, but also commercial projects may not have a limit in terms of building to the property lines. Most commercial projects you can build to the property lines, but they have a size limitation both in the zoning code for how big they can be and the number of stories, but also in the building code that's based on the type of construction. I'm not sure if some of you have taken classes that kind of illustrate how those building limitations can be involved in the building code in terms of the type of construction. For example, a type 5 non-rated building is basically a house. A 1-hour building could be an apartment building that's made out of wood, but that means that every wall, every floor has to be rated to 1 hour, so that if there is a fire, the minimum time that they're tested to and are able to prevent the fire from going from one unit to another is at least 1 hour. But you also have steel, concrete, masonry, and those are not the typical construction material that's used for apartment buildings or houses. Those are more for commercial projects, and having those type of building materials give you give the builder the ability to build a larger or a taller size building, and that's also something again that a developer, a building owner will come in and submit plans that are prepared by, of course, an architect and an engineer, and we review them, and if they comply with all the zoning and building requirements, then we can issue that permit for them to initiate construction. But even commercial projects could be a challenge and something new that for us as engineers to learn, because we normally don't deal with parking, we normally don't deal with ADA, we normally don't deal with exiting requirements, we normally don't deal with these types of safety features that are put in the code when it comes to the use and occupancy of a building. For example, an assembly occupancy building such as a theater, an apartment building that houses more than 6 units. Not only do they have to be thoroughly reviewed and approved by the building department, they also trigger other departments to review them, such as the fire department. So when it comes to building departments, the common partner for us in reviewing plans and working towards providing that necessary safeguard for the occupants that use these buildings is the fire department. So we constantly work with them in terms of, again, the fire sprinklers, the distance that someone can travel to exit the unit, the apartment, high-rise buildings, number of stairs, and the protected, stair shafts that are involved in providing that, safeguard for the building occupants. But we also work in an area that's also transforming in terms of technology. A lot of our plan review now in most building departments is through electronic plan review or plan check. So you don't have to print plans and bring them to the building department for us to review. You can now create an account online and submit those documents electronically. And that's something that will not completely change overnight, meaning that a lot of people out there that like the paper plans to be submitted, they will probably continue. But having that technology now that we're living in the world of COVID, it makes a big difference. And it anybody that had that technology advanced in their city, greatly benefited from not having to have that intake of plans dropped off in at their office for review and processing. But that technology will probably even grow in the future. So by the time most of you start working professionally, the majority of the work will probably be electronic plan review, or most of you will probably be continuing to work from home. And it's a good thing. It does help the environment, which is something that a lot of us in this profession are also involved with in terms of preventing the environment from being, again, affected by traffic and pollution and things of that sort. But also it helps with another pandemic. If something else happens in the future where we have to stay home and work from home more, then it will create and that work environment that not create, but maintain that work environment that a lot of us are pretty much used to nowadays. I personally like to come into the office because there's less distractions and I can work freely here without having somebody knock at my door or the dog barking in the background. I mean, I get distracted by the freeway if there's an accident, but but otherwise I could stay pretty focused on my work. So it's something that you guys are going to be used to. So as I kind of go through what we do here in the building department, I am going through in my mind through some of the slides that we that I had put together. Other services that we provide at the building department is provide building and zoning information through a call center. So if an architect, an engineer, or a homeowner is interested in trying and getting information from us as far as what they can do on their property and when and how, they can pick up the phone and call us, and the operators will transfer them to the phone engineers who at the moment are working from home. They don't even have to show up to the office. If you're assigned phone duties, you can work from home and assist the public while you work from home. Another service that we provide is building records, which again, the need of having this technology available for the public has forced us to put all these documents online. So if you live in LA or are interested in finding building records or documents for a property that you either own or are interested in purchasing, you can go online and find all the permit history for the building that you're interested in. And also to verify whether something was built with a permit or not, you can verify the size of the house, the number of stories, whether there is a legal basement in your house or not. Believe it or not, people build things illegally. Even a basement can be built illegally, and it's a constant challenge for us as a building department, and not just for us in LA. That's why we have code enforcement, and code enforcement is responsible for tending to these situations where people build illegally, whether it's modifying something or making a large or small addition to their house or their commercial buildings. We get a lot of potential buyers of these buildings, houses or commercial buildings, where they builder things that they are buying a building of a specific size, and they come to find out that a lot of that work that was done to the building or house was done without a permit. And guess what? They don't get credit for that. They need to come back and treat that as a brand new addition to their house, prepare the documents and submit them to us to review. And sometimes what is built cannot be legally built, even if it was built to the building standards that meet the code regulations. But having people do this kind of illegal work forces us to have this unit that goes out there every day looking for code violations, or the neighbors are great at calling out their neighbors for doing work without a permit, which is good. You can snitch on your neighbor without ever giving our department your name. You can do an anonymous tip. You can submit a complaint anonymously, and we investigate it. We will look into it. We provide updates as far as what we're doing, and sometimes the violation or the complaint that was filed turns out to be bad, because in some cases they do have a building permit and they do have the proper permission to build. Another aspect of the department is, of course, technology. And technology does, again, at the moment, serve a great purpose in the world that we live in, and will continue to live in. Actually, we do hire a lot of students in our IT department, and it helps to have some of these students that know and understand technical information, building type information, as opposed to having, like, I don't know, and I don't want to, I'm sure there's no history majors in this call, but I don't want to insult any specific majors, but a history major, for example, coming into the building department and working in the call center, even if the assistance or the help that they provide the permanent folks in ITA is minor in terms of working here, having someone that understands what we do and what ePlancheck is, and what some of the information that they're having problems with, maybe not being able to open a file, maybe a building code is not opening, and they call systems, and they will assist them in understanding what how to access whatever information that they need. But having someone like you guys be working at the call center does facilitate somebody's understanding of what they're doing, and it makes a big difference. Another aspect of what we do in the department is inspection. Our inspectors, and not the code enforcement inspectors, but the actual building inspectors, whether you're a residential inspector or a commercial inspector, because these two are separate and not the same, and they have different titles for very specific reason, but they also belong to different unions, are represented by different groups of professional unions, because their functions and duties are different. Understanding a construction of a house whether it's the building aspect of it, whether it's the electrical, plumbing, or HVAC of a house is completely different from what it takes to inspect the heating and ventilation system of a high-rise building. It's different. Or if you're an electrical inspector, you're going to be inspecting large commercial projects that are not houses, and your understanding of the electrical code probably has to be greater than if you're a residential inspector that can check all those, all that work associated with a house. So we have the residential inspectors, we have the building inspectors, electrical inspectors, HVAC and plumbing inspectors. And some of these inspectors, believe it or not, are professional engineers. But it's what they want to do, and having a thorough understanding of the engineering aspect of how things are put together, whether it's a house or a high-rise building, helps the inspectors understand what they're doing out in the field, not just verifying that they're building per plans, but understanding that that connection, whether it's a steel moment frame or a brace frame or concrete non-ductile building that needs to be retrofitted. It makes a big difference having that understanding of what is ductility, those things that sometimes contractors are doing and they don't fully or truly understand the purpose. So having that technical education, like some of these folks that have a degree in engineering and working in the field, makes a big difference. So it, again, gives you options to be able to have the education that that can open up doors. And some of the staff that actually come into our department as plan check staff or as engineers, they actually start in the inspection group because that's how they got their foot in the door. And as they transition through their career, they felt that maybe the inspection side of the house was not for them, but because they did have the technical background, they were able to transition into something else within the department. There's some people that have multiple degrees. They'll get a degree in electrical engineering and civil engineering, and I've seen these guys switch back and forth, or people, I shouldn't say guys, because I know a female that did the same. Transition from electrical plan check to civil or building plan check. And it's a neat thing. It's it's an opportunity that a lot of us don't have. I mean, I certainly don't have it, but having that opportunity again opens up doors for people. Let's see. In terms of permits, we probably help about so that you get an idea of how many people we see on a yearly basis that come through our doors. We probably serve about 50,000 people that walk through our doors every year. And well, at the moment, it's a little bit different, but on a regular non-COVID year, walk through our doors in need of assistance, either dropping off or submitting documents, or again, asking zoning questions, or some of the zoning questions are not just associated with building a house or building a commercial building. I got to move again, sorry. Sorry about that, technical difficulties, right? Some of the questions that come to our public counters or even our call center are not necessarily associated with building a house. They also have to do with the type of business that some of these people want to open, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's an office space, whether it's a storage facility, whether it's animal keeping. There's now in downtown, there's a lot of businesses that are being developed around the newly built housing buildings in downtown LA. Animal daycare, nail salons, you name it. A lot of these things that people are in need of in terms of services, dry cleanings or dry cleaning businesses. You can't just put them anywhere you want. These are driven by the zone and parking as far as like what you can build. So if you want to build a professional business that is not set up for the type of business that you want in terms of zoning or building, well, you can't have it unless you provide the necessary regulations that the zoning code or the building code requires for you to have. So that's pretty much as far as the services that we provide. So as you can tell, we do a wide range of things within the department. We have a wide range of staff that work for the department, and again, it provides a lot of learning opportunities and development opportunities for any professional. And you don't have to be a technical person like an engineer or a building inspector. You can also be a accounting person, because we do have a finance department. We do have opportunities for management, folks like management analysts that help us track data, that help us with allocating or purchasing computers, distributing them, remodeling offices, budgeting for codes, reference standards. I mean, if you can imagine the number of codes that we need in our department when it comes to getting the new updated codes. We have between 500 and 600 inspectors between the two major bureaus that house the inspectors, the Inspection Bureau and the Code Enforcement Bureau. That's a lot of codes that we need to give them, but also about 200, actually about 150 engineers in all aspects of the business, civil, which are building, electrical, mechanical, engineers that need all those codes. So again, the purchasing that's involved in obtaining all that documentation, again, facilitates the opportunity for people to come in and work here without ever being in the building related majors. And that's pretty much our department. I don't know if you guys have any questions, or if I kind of stuck to the script that I had in mind. Not entirely, but I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. And I think that was about 30 minutes, right? I don't want to take up all of your time.
No, yeah, that was a perfect amount of time. This leaves enough time for question and answer. So.
Okay, yeah, so I'm available if anybody's got questions.
I guess I have a few questions. How much of your time would you say, maybe it's different now with COVID, but how much of your time would you say you spend in your office, on the computer? How much time interfacing with people, meetings, that sort of time? Like, how is your time usually spent on a normal day?
Well, now with COVID, we're not meeting with the public, but we do have a lot of virtual meetings internally with other city departments. I'll give you an example of what has been taking up a lot of my time, and probably about an hour almost on a daily basis, is that explosion of the fireworks in the south side of our city. I don't know if you guys remember that. The police department busted someone with a lot of fireworks, and they put them in that truck where they were supposed to detonate those fireworks and contain them and not transport them and take them somewhere else. That's how bombs normally work. You don't want to transport a bomb. You want to detonate it in a truck and then take care of that incident that way. So that truck exploded and it damaged a lot of these houses in that area. And just figuring out how to rebuild those houses, how to get people into shelters, how to facilitate securing that location to be investigated by the federal government, the FTA, what is it, the FTA, I guess. No, what is that? Not FTA. What is it called? The Tobacco Firearms Department for the federal government. They went in there and investigated that site. So we're still not done. And this was back in July. So it's taking up about an hour almost every day of meetings with the police department, fire department, the council offices, with the other folks within my responsibility in terms of managing. I meet with them probably about 1 hour every other day. And then projects where people have challenges in terms of needing assistance in trying to get their projects completed, their certificate of occupancy issued so that they can occupy their building. You're talking about 50% of my time in meetings, and then the other 50% in responding to emails. So I don't know if that gives you a good idea. I don't go in the field unless I have to. But if I have to, in some cases, there's some challenging projects out there that do need the attention of a manager like myself. And I do go out probably twice a month to an actual site out in the field. Does that help you kind of understand how my day is?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no problem. But good question. Yes, thank you.